hopefully I'm in focus. Hey y'all, it's Lynn Howard and welcome back. If this is your first time here, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell for notifications so you'll find out each time I post a new video, which is usually on Fridays, and guess who forgot to post again last Friday? I've had a weird past couple weeks. It's been a little stressful past couple weeks. So have you ever read a book and you just couldn't quite get connected to the character? Do you know why that is? Because the character is one-dimensional. Because no one bothered spending time developing this character into a real person for you to care about what happens. So today, we're going to talk about, you guessed it, how to make characters believable. The first thing I will tell you is to look around you. Observe the population as a whole. Have you ever noticed on some movies there's like, you've got the funny friend, you got the bitchy friend, you got, I'm bitchy, and I'm funny, and I'm sarcastic, and I'm sweet. Which category am I falling in? We are all multi-layered and multifaceted. Your characters should be too. Of course they could have a great sense of humor and laugh at the inappropriate moments. I do, because I have anxiety issues. Make sure your characters are not put into this box. Oh, I know it's the mean one because he always says something mean. People are going to close your book because they're not going to get attached to it, especially if it's a protagonist or the antagonist. Because guess what? The protagonist is not going to be only the angel on the shoulder, and the antagonist doesn't only have a devil on their shoulder. I saw something once that made me think about on Walking Dead. What if Walking Dead had been from Negan's side of the story? Spoiler alert if you stop watching at a certain point, but Negan kills certain people. But here's the thing, Rick attacked them first. So who's the antagonist in whose story? Therefore, you can't make this character inherently evil with literally no extra aspects to them, unless they're kind of like, the big baddie that's not really discussed much, but then we're not going to care again. Human beings as a whole are multi-layered. Make sure your characters reflect that. Another tip I have, and most of this isn't going to go in a book, know your character's favorite song, their favorite music, their favorite book, their favorite color, the first car when they drove. Find out why they sucked their thumb till the age of 13. Find out why they're terrified of submarines. It's a real phobia. Leave me alone. Not a lot of this or none of this might go in a book, but it will make that character become more live in your head. I want to know kind of why Susie, brushes her hair 15 times before she goes to bed. Might not go in the book, but there's always a reason for things that we do in our own life. Your characters are going to have those backstories as well. And again, let me repeat, the majority of it won't go and doesn't need to go in a book, but it will help the character become live to you, which will then help you relay a true, realistic character to your readers. Number 3, dialogue. Dialogue can be done well, or can be done shitty. I've seen them both ways. Some books that are great have shitty dialogue at times. It happens. We say awkward things in real life as well. However, big sis, little bro, I assume when you say that, you don't have siblings. Quid pro quo here. I answer the phone for my baby sister. Hello, baby sister. That's our thing. But I don't walk up, hey, little sis, how's the day going? Hey, big bro, how's the day going? People don't talk like that in real life. And I'm assuming that at some point you've had a conversation with another human being. Did you use different inflections in your voice? Did you use slang in your sentence structures? Do the characters in your book use slang? Because working in fantasy right now, not high fantasy, it's romantic fantasy, they use a different type of slang than we would today. They don't say ain't. The other books I've written, they do say ain't and gonna and doing because that's how they speak. Make sure your characters' speech patterns reflect a realistic type conversation and doesn't feel forced or stilted, or like a writer is sitting down going, you know what, I'm going to make them say this next, because that's how we're going to read it. Another tip, people are different physically. Not everyone is 5'5" and statuesque with big boobs and a round butt and skinny waist and good at all sports, and men aren't all chiseled and, you know, beautiful and perfect. We all have flaws. We all look different. Our skin tones are different. Our hair textures are different. Again, I assume you've left your house at some point. I'm pretty sure you have. If you have not, perhaps you have watched television and you've seen there are many types of people on the planet. Now, obviously, if you're creating your own race of like blue people, this doesn't actually relate to this type of thing, but you get what I'm saying. If every single character in your book looks exactly the same, they're all statuesque and beautiful or petite and dainty, and all the men are perfect and they're perfect fighters and they win everything, it's not believable. It's your fantasy world that readers won't enjoy as their fantasy world, because we want conflict, we want struggles, we want to see them overcome whatever obstacle has been put in their way. Obviously, it's not, you know, your weight's not going to get in your way, but you understand what I'm saying. If you make your characters perfect in every way, it's called a Mary Sue. If you haven't heard that phrase yet, that is what we call the perfect character, is a Mary Sue. Kill your Mary Sue. Kill her off. Don't even give birth to her. Don't even give birth to her. Make sure your character looks like a regular person. Maybe your female's a little on the fluffy side. There's nothing wrong with that. Maybe your muscular guy has a dad bod, because sorry, but those are hot. You know, not every character needs to be blonde hair, blue-eyed, or, you know, every character needs to look like you with the, well, I'm kind of a brindle right now, but brown hair, brown eyes. Again, gray, brown, red, but put some spice in there and variety. Let us see a real world. Let us imagine ourselves into a story as though it's come to life. And in the real world, if we're inserting ourselves into the real world, people look and behave differently. My next tip, and this relates a lot more to any romantic element, romance is not always perfect and sweet and smoothed over and they get along all the time. Everybody's seen The Notebook at this point, right? If you haven't seen it, you've read it. They fight, they bicker, they break up, they get back together. Give your couples some time to get to know each other. Let them bicker and argue over something stupid. Don't do the Hallmark where this big old misunderstanding that could have been solved in a 5-minute conversation, but give them an obstacle and give us something to root for. That makes them become more realistic, because in real life we have obstacles. I've been married to my husband for 14 years and I joke about we have the perfect marriage and it's just because we're both weirdos. But we've had our own obstacles. We've had our disagreements. We call them fights, but they're disagreements to most people. We don't agree on every single thing in this planet. Your characters shouldn't either, because then it doesn't come off as realistic. My last tip, you can insert yourself into a book or someone you know, but don't make the characters you. Don't make the characters your friend Jenny. Pick and choose. Nova from Grey's Wolf has so much of me in her, and people hate her. So it hurts my feelings a little bit, but maybe I went a little overboard with inserting my sense of humor in her. She doesn't look like me, obviously, but I inserted a lot of my personality in her, and people didn't like her. I should have brought her, reeled her back just a little bit and a little bit less impulsive, because we are not everybody's cup of tea. Make your characters likable. Even the villains can be likable. Hello, Negan. Hello, Damon Salvatore. Make your characters likable enough that we want to cheer for them, because then they become realistic and we're literally cheering for them to win in the end. We're cheering for them to get together. We're cheering for them to beat the aliens. We're cheering for them to win this battle. If they're not realistic in our heads and they're not realistic in your heads, we don't care. I will close a book if I can't connect to a character. And the only time I can't connect to a character is if I either don't like them for whatever reason, maybe they're just not a very nice character, or they're not coming to life in my head. You don't have to go overboard with the descriptions of the name brands they're wearing and exact hairstyles and the name brand of makeup they're wearing, but give me enough of a visual that I can picture it in my head. Build the world only enough for me to picture in my head. In other words, avoid the info dump. But make sure this person comes to life. I want you to dream about your characters. I want you to hear them in your head. It sounds weird, but I want you to argue with them. It happens to me quite often, actually, because the new book coming out May 5th, by the way, Soul Alliance, his name is Jelan. I named him Jelan. He corrected me. It's pronounced Elan, apparently. That's right, my imaginary character, the person that I built, corrected me on the pronunciation of his name, but hey, I just record what I see. Make your characters so realistic in your head that they become real people, so that when we're reading it, it becomes real people to us. Again, I'm sorry, I didn't record, I didn't send anything out last Friday. It's been a really, really crazy 2 weeks. I'm not gonna get into it, nobody cares. But I will see you next Friday, I promise. So until next time, mwah, bye.